P, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original, presented to you by Prize Picks. And today we have probably the ultimate,
The ultimate.
the ultimate
The
guest
ultimate,
on the
boy.
show today. This man right here is the original PG. He's the king of fish. Sorry, Kareem, but he's the king of the hook. My old man, Pops. Hey, it's all good. Thank you guys for having me. Thank y'all for representing. You representing right now.
That is a real fight.
TP. That's it.
You got it all.
That's it. That's it. How you like the set?
It's nice. It's nice. My first time here. You know, it's kind of dope how y'all, just have it, just a little section and then on the tube it looks like it's bigger than what it is.
It's bigger, yep.
So yeah.
A little intimate space. You know, we come in. I think that's why it helps the guests kind of feel more included with what we're doing because it is like an intimate setting. You know,
like a little man cave.
Exactly.
Like your man cave.
Yeah, it used to be
the king of man
cave.
cave.
No, I didn't move now, so the cave got to get made again.
Okay, so Pops used to have the coldest
It's
man
cave-ish
cave.
though. You still,
I mean, I got a few little pictures on the wall, but like the old man cave, it was like
it was decked out.
Like everywhere you look, like it was something there.
I want to ask y'all this before. What makes a man cave a man cave? Like really makes it the man cave? Like what part of the man cave?
Because you putting, I feel that you putting all your stuff in there.
Yeah.
So this is my cave.
I think it's like one space in the whole house that like you get to decide what goes in there. Like the wife gets to design the rest of the house, and then you just get that one area where you get to do as you please.
I dig that. But before we ask any other questions, Paul, we got to get this off the meter rack right here because we done had millions of times on this show talking about this boy playing his first basketball game in some jean shorts. Now, you're going to have to help us out with this one, Papa. The fans want to know, we all want to know, why did you let this man, this boy, go to his first game in some jean shorts that was cut up and with holes in them and stuff? Because this is a story that he has told us plenty of times. He was out playing, you picked him up and said, you got a game today, and you just said, get in the car. Didn't change, didn't get no shorts. Nothing. Please explain this day to us, please.
Actually, I don't remember that. I don't remember that one.
Please, this is what you told us.
Yeah. Nah, this was Brignac.
Okay.
I remember you told me leading up to it that I was going to be on this team, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know when. I never practiced with the team. The season had already started. So I was the new addition.
Oh, okay.
And Brignac had a spot for me on the team.
Yeah.
Shout out Michael Brignac.
Yes.
And I remember I didn't know where I was going. We went to this school. I had jean shorts on at the time. I didn't have a jersey then. They just handed me whatever they had. And I played this game.
It's starting to come back now.
Yeah. And it was just, I don't know, it was I was nervous. Like it was a surreal moment just being out
Well,
there.
I mean, at that time, like was at the Spur, and like we had to leave. So, and he was outside already, doing his thing. I think he was down the street playing, and I pulled up. And Michael had called me and said, hey, bring your son in. And so when I gets there, I'm thinking, I didn't think he was going to be playing or nothing. I'm thinking, he's come in, kind of, meet everybody and all that. But as soon as they get in there, like you said, they here. But it was funny because he got in there and he did good. He did good. They were like, hey, tomorrow, bring the same outfit. But he at the age of 5 or 6 years old, he was pulling on me and said, Dad, I'm going to be a pro basketball player. And I'm like, okay, all right. But right now, can you take out the trash? And he just, went on. But always loved basketball.
That's a good thing. I need you to let us know too, Pop. A lot of people probably don't even know this. It's a lot of variations of the PGs. It's a lot of them. You got the PG, you got Paul George, the first Paul George. How many Paul Georges is it in this world? Please let us know what number you are.
I'm at number 4.
You number 4?
I'm number 4.
What?
So obviously this is number 5.
Number 5.
And His
Number
number
six.
6.
And his son number 6.
Now, please tell us how y'all kept this going. How it made y'all happy.
Well, my grandfather, his name was Paul.
That's
George.
crazy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
And then my dad, he was the first child, so he was a junior.
Okay.
And then my dad, they had like another son.
What are you
like
doing,
before
bro?
me. And then he passed away. I think he was like 6 months old. Back then they called it
Like crib death. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he passed away. So when I came along, he still wanted a Paul George. So that's how I became another Paul George.
And then,
And then, of course, Paul,
Damn,
and then his son. So that's 6 of us now.
That's a low-key would have been 7.
That's crazy.
That was-
I didn't even know that.
Well,
Yeah, he would have been 6.
Yeah.
Well, my name
Yeah.
would have been something else.
Yeah,
if
exactly. That's what I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Hey.
the older brother would have lived. But yeah.
mm-hmm.
Now we gotta see if Vuk gonna keep it going.
They got to.
Yeah,
He
gonna
better keep
going.
it
got to.
going. Hey,
I remember the funny story about it when I was trying to come up with names or what I was going to name Vuk.
Uh-huh.
And it just, I don't know, it didn't sit right. Just having a conversation with you, I just felt like you was like, boy, you better name
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
I know what you should name
I
it.
mean, it was a lot of pressure. And especially when he was walking the ropes with it, like, it gotta be PG, you know? It gotta be PG.
Yeah, thank
And
God
so
for
he
Daniela.
didn't tell me until, when the baby was born. He said,
Right.
yeah,
It's
Dad.
too late.
No,
He
he
couldn't
was-
go
Damn,
back.
I thought that
Yeah.
was Christian Brown, bro. I'm
Yeah,
tripping.
Dad, this is PG-6 here. Oh, okay, you
like you said, thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for Daniela, like, just accepting of, like, she was all supportive of, like,
Mhm.
I think it should be another Paul George.
Mhm.
But, for me, it was more so the thing of, like,
Of course
I know
he
when
makes that
kids-
shit, bro.
when, the parent is high profile and then now the kid shares the same name, the pressure that comes behind that. And so I was just trying to,
Right,
alleviate that and just give him his own identity.
right.
But it worked out, it
Yeah.
worked out
Yeah.
the way it should have worked out.
And he loves that name. Yeah, he loves
you
it.
know,
we know.
Paul
We
George.
Paul George.
Paul George.
Paul George
He could
all
be walking
day.
down the, the sidewalk. Paul
Paul
George.
George. I seen your new video you put with the slight crossover.
Yeah, with the bucket.
Oh, man.
I'm saying, look at
But now he loves, like, he watches all the like commercials and the Gatorade commercials I did, and he'll like dunk and he'll be like, like he'll follow the whole commercial. It's funny, man. It's funny.
Pops, you just mentioned that after that game, you kind of knew that he enjoyed playing basketball. But do you have any other stories or moments of him as a child where you'd look at him and go like, okay, like my son really loves basketball?
Yeah, a few times. It wasn't, when he first started playing.
I don't know why I
For,
keep
like, the
shooting
why.
at him, bro.
And so, I would be sitting in the stands and, and it's a game going on. And I'm sitting there and I think the number was number 25 at the time. And so I'm sitting there and I think one of my friends had came to one of the games with me, Little Fred. And we sitting there and I'm hearing other parents saying, wow, look at that
that's
kid,
cash.
number 25. He just more advanced than all the other kids out there. And then I'm sitting there, I'm hearing all this, going on, and then my buddy Fred, he, hit me like, oh, they talking about your son out there. I'm looking, I said, okay, yeah, he got some moves out there, So, they went on and won and all that, so. And I'm just looking at him. I'm like, maybe he do got something here. Then the next game, and then, once the little season was over with, everybody knew him. They didn't know like the other kids' names on the team, but they do number 25. They were like, this little kid right here, he's gonna go somewhere. So that was a few times where it kind of like a bell kind of went off, like I think he. Yeah, And then as he got older and started playing in high school, and his sister played.
That's right where we was going. That's perfect. Keep going.
And his sister, he was kind of jealous of her because she was in the newspaper.
P always tell us that she
every
was better
weekend.
than him. She helped.
She was.
She helped him get better.
She was. I mean,
y'all don't understand like Teosha's rise. They don't understand like Teosha's rise. Like Teosha was every day in the papers. Like literally every. They might not even play.
But she was in the papers.
She was in the papers.
Yes.
Like in their life.
And she was on the front page. And so Paul would look at it, and he was like, okay. She's getting all this attention. So,
Give me strength.
When life gets messy, Ronnie helps you find the strength. 2 times more durable, so you can use less. Ronnie, stay giant.
Messy.
She's getting all this attention.
Messy?
So he would go outside with his basketball, work. And then he started growing. And once he started growing, he started catching up to her.
Right.
So she would come in the house mad now.
Are they still playing one-on-one basketball?
Yeah. So they still outside, in the street, on the street playing ball and all that.
Wait, so
and
Teosha used to whip his butt all the time?
Yeah, till he got up close to her height.
To her height.
Yeah,
and then he started beating her.
And then he was on her after that.
What was his first reaction when he got that first win?
Oh man,
what was that first? I know he came in the house.
She couldn't talk no more. She couldn't say, "Shut up, go sit down." None of that. He like,
oh my God, Russell, what
and
the fuck is that?
Then he grabbed the basketball. You look at her like, huh? You want to go out? And if she wasn't busy, or she would go out there and they would, they would be going at it back and forth. Oh. But then, like it had other kids on the block that was older, and I think that's what Paul really put in like a lot of work, because he was starting to get tall, but he didn't really have it like that. And then the older kids, of course, they was putting it on him. They were like, "Oh, this kid is my height. You ought to be close to my age." So they would put it on him. And after he,
oh my God, Bronny and
like, he was wearing them out. They were like, "No, I don't want to play no more." You know what I'm saying? So he just put in a lot of work, And I'm thinking he was gonna be real tall. I'm saying he's gonna be tall. So he liked the basketball. So I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna play center. I'm buying, and then at the time, Shaq was the man. He was with the Magic. And I'm buying all kind of Magic, number 44. I think number was 44 or something like that.
30. He was 34. 32. He was 32 in Magic. Okay. Yeah.
I'm buying everything Magic, And so he's Paul's looking at me. He's like, "Dad, know you like Shaq and all that," but he said, "I am not gonna play no center." I'm like, and I'm trying to tell him. I said, "Look, son," I go, "I see you're gonna be kind of tall. You might want to try to play center. Stick on that. He was like, "No." Every day he was out there dribbling the ball. He was dribbling, walking to school, dribbling, walking back home from school.
Yeah.
So he just got in his dribbling handles and all that, and it's funny because when he was playing high school, he was getting more rebounds far than the center. The center looked at him like, "Go get it, Paul." You know what I mean?
How tall was your center back then?
My senior year, he was short. Chris was probably like 6'3" at the time, and I was probably 6'7", 6'8", and I was like the point guard pretty much.
What?
So yeah, it was I was pretty much point center. Like Chris was our center. Chris Shaw, shout out Chris Shaw.
Yeah.
Chris Shaw, he was our center. He was like 6'3", but he was bouncy.
Yeah.
But 6'3", he played like he was 6'10".
Yeah,
like he could get off the ground quick.
Yeah,
he was bouncy. But yeah, I was kind of do a little bit of everything.
How old were you when you knew you didn't want to be a center? Like, how young were you?
Oh, as he said, I was.
Yeah, even when he was playing for like the Y.
The Y.
He didn't play center.
That moment.
But he was
Just
always
because you didn't want
But you had something against being a center or something?
That's wise behind your ears, because that,
Yeah.
most of the time when the kids are tall, it's like, no, you're going to sit down here. For you didn't, just not want to play center for no, I don't think at the time you were like, no, I want to be able to dribble good, and like you just knew like that wasn't for you.
That wasn't for me. Like, I think the reason I fell in love with basketball is because I watched Kobe. Like, I was watching Tracy McGrady, and that was my that's who I wanted to play like. You know what I mean? I didn't look at Shaq. I didn't look at KG. I didn't look at Tim Duncan. Like, I didn't look at these guys as like, oh, like they're posting up or they're dunking on people like from the block. Like, I didn't look at them as like, oh, that's what I want to do. I was watching Kobe, how they played on the perimeter, how they dribbled, and then at that time, and one was huge.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm out there working on my handles. I'm trying to do tricks at the park. I'm doing all of that. Throw it between the legs, like, you know. So I think that's just kind of where the mindset developed, and it was kind of like to myself, like, if I'm gonna play this game, I'm gonna play it how I want to play it, and that's kind of just how it all developed. As like, how's this tall dude got handles? Like how? Because I was, at that age, it's kind of like an oxymoron. Like, you don't see the tallest kid playing point guard, you know what I mean, in the neighborhood. But I was our best ball handler, and I was head and shoulders above the next kid. And so it's just kind of how it developed.
And just to follow up, Pops, like, because P has explained to us that were you super into basketball? And Paul kind of gives the credit to his sister. Where did she fall in love with basketball? You know, if it didn't come from you guys, how come she got into loving basketball so much?
Well, I mean, I did love basketball. I mean, I do love basketball. I mean, but I didn't push it on my kids. My daughter came up to me and she said, "Dad, I want to play basketball." She was starting to get, starting to grow. And she was telling me, like, all her friends telling her, she ought to try out for the team. She had no clue of playing, ball, so she got into it. And when she got into it, I seen that she really liked it. And that's how she got started. And then Paul, he pretty much told me that, he came and, and he said, "Hey, Dad, like, I want to, play basketball." And then one of my friends, he was just starting to coach, and then his son was starting to play too. So, he kind of helped me out times when I couldn't, get Paul there. He would come by and he would pick Paul up, and he would take him to practice and stuff like that. But both of them pretty much, raised their hand up and say, "Hey, you know what, like, I want to play." But I have seen parents out there where they, push. I mean, and then you can see that it really gets to, the kid. But I didn't, I let them come to me and they say, "Hey, you know what, like, I want to play this game."
What sport did you play though, Pop? I want to know what sport
I wasn't good in none of them.
Do you see any of their athletes?
Can you share the football story?
I want to know what sport you done played.
Football.
Actually, I played football against John Elway back in the day.
Drop the name, Pop.
But I didn't. I mean, I didn't actually play with him, but I was there. But at the time, the coach didn't send me in.
Granada High, right?
Huh?
Didn't he play at Granada?
Yes.
Granada High.
And then I was at San Fernando High.
There we go.
But yeah, this one game, it was the first game that my dad came to. So I'm out there.
It's already funny.
I played tight end.
Okay.
And this one kid, every play he was just putting me down. So the next huddle, they come up to me and they said, "Paul, we gonna come on your side, but you gotta stop this guy." And this guy was bigger than me. He was taller than me and bigger than me. So I'm like, "Damn, do I got some help?" And they said, "No, you can hang, you can get him. So we break, gets down, I'm looking at him, and I'm saying, "Boy, please help me." So when they said, hike, I closed my eyes and I just went after it. Boom. And they started running. They started coming my way and I could feel them coming. So I'm running and there he is. He didn't go nowhere. He was right there on me. And so I just leashed out and I tackled, and I knew I had him. And next thing I'm hearing somebody pat me on top of my helmet. And they say, let him go, let him go.
Yes, there it is.
And
Okay.
so I open up my eyes and I say, that ain't the guy. I'm starting to see stripes.
He tackled
I didn't tackle the ref. I tackled the ref. I tackled the ref. And
You tackled the ref.
I tackled the ref. And then the ref was hitting me on top of my helmet. He said, son, let me go, let me go. And so when I let him go, he got up and he dusted himself off and he's cussing at me. And he said, I ain't never had this happen to me. And I could hear all the fans laughing. I could hear my coach over there, George. He done threw around the doggone tablet book or whatever, the playbook. So when I looks up, I see him through like this, like, you know, I get to the sideline. And I never took my helmet off, you know. And before I would take my helmet off, right, when I come out the game.
You was a shield.
I think I kept my helmet on all the way when I rode home. I mean, and this was on a Friday, okay? No, this was on a Thursday. I didn't go to school Friday. It was probably Tuesday when I showed back up.
Oh, my God.
And everybody was like, man, what were you thinking?
So you ain't ever played those sports after that?
And no, I mean, but I still, you know, I played, but I think I was in the 11th grade, so I had about another year. And but I was just getting into in the football, as far as in team ball. So then the following year, of course, all of the starters had left. And they came back to me, hey, Paul, you want to play? I go, no, I am not playing. You guys ain't finna make a fool of me again. And then my dad, he just, and then on the way home, he was just quiet. I mean, we couldn't make a conversation for nothing, you know. And then my little brother, Jeff, at the time, he was in the back seat just rubbing it in. Why did you tackle the ref? You know, and I at that time I wanted to take my helmet off and hit him upside the head with it. But that was one of the moments.
That's funny.
That's good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, Dad, I just want to say I appreciate you for just supporting me through my dreams. Mom as well. I think the greatest credit to a parent is just the sacrifice they make for their kids to succeed. And you guys did that obviously with myself, with Teosha, with Port. Like, what's some of the things growing up that I probably don't even know about? Sacrifices you made just for me to be able to play the game that I love, to play basketball. Because I know, what I do know is like the times I would reach out like, hey Dad, we need this, we need that, we need shoes. Like I never felt that I didn't have what I needed ever at any point. And I know how, you know, just difficult it is with, you know, especially back in those days of, you know, resources being limited. But again, I never felt I didn't have what I needed to go out and play. But
it wasn't easy, especially when all y'all started playing sports.
Exactly. But what's some of the...
One come up to me, hey, Dad, I want to play this. Huh? Yeah, I mean, it was hard because I was the only one working. And, you know, and I didn't want them just being out there and not having it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I used to have to put in a lot of work, a lot of hours. So there was a lot of times where I wasn't there because I was at work, you know, making sure that they had this and had that. Mm-hmm. But I made it very clear when they all three of them came to me and they said, hey, you know, I want to play sports. I'm saying, okay, well, you better give it 100% because I don't have money just to be, you know, y'all just want to be on the fashion, you know. I want the best, but, you know, I want these sneakers and that sneakers. But me and him used to bump heads on the sneakers. He was into Iversons at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I like the Converse, but, you know, and the price was nice too. You know,
You see Pop rocking them today, Pop.
Dr. J.
The
Julius Irving.
and so he had. I think I got him like a pair, and he had wore them down. He wanted another pair, and I said, well, I think they were like $70, $80 at the time. I said, well, I don't have that, but I got 50. I can get you a pair of Converse. And he didn't want them, but I still got them. And he did not wear those. I mean, he wore his shoes till he was on his feet again, and he did not wear them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to bump heads on what kind of gear that he wanted. You know, sometimes I could get it, and sometimes I couldn't. You know, but I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but we did what we did. You know. So
That is funny because I remember those. I had them Converse, and something about them, I just could not touch them. You know. And for some reason at that time, like Converse weren't for me. Couldn't wear them. Now, in hindsight, like I love Converse. Like,
well, that's the shoes that we played in. You know, these here.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have all them fancy shoes they got now.
Did they play the low top ones or just the high top ones back then?
The high top ones.
The high top. They didn't have low top ones, right? Did they?
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. Low top.
It's crazy that people used to play in them.
I know.
Because that is tough.
That's a tough
Looking
shot.
back on it now,
Especially
you could maybe
dunking
understand.
and slamming and all that,
Right.
and you come down on these little things here and be like,
Right.
oh man,
Yeah,
you're looking for trouble.
They just loose.
They just loose. I mean, and at that time, like people didn't know how to take care of their bodies. And,
That's right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And they were out there doing it.
They were doing it.
They were hooping too.
They were doing it.
Like Ryan Pickles right now. Anyway, this next segment of the show is called The Connect, sponsored by
He
AT&T.
blocks everything.
Stay
It's really
connected
not
to what
fair.
matters the most with AT&T.
Shit ain't even fair, dog. We built this city with a.
Keep it posted with Bolton Northern.
All right, now we connecting generations, and since you here, Pop, you know it's a new era of the sport and everything. But the other day, Anthony Edwards said back in the day, Jordan in his era was the only one that had skills in his era compared to what now. So I want to ask you, since you here with us and P is here, what do all y'all think about them comments that Anthony Edwards said about Jordan having the only skill in his era?
Cap.
I'll let Pops go first, but
He's saying Jordan had to.
yeah. So
the
he
only
said
one
Jordan was the only one
in
that
his
had
era,
skill. I get what he was trying to say, but I don't get what he was trying to say in the same like.
Well, I mean, if I mean, back in the day, I'm trying to remember. Jordan went through a lot of losing before he started winning, until he started getting the right pieces.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Jordan was the man, you know. But I can't say. I mean, he had all of the talent. I mean, he was the most talented, but he was at the top. Yeah. Yeah. That's all I.
Is anybody else you would put on that list in his era that you would say it was his competition that was I can put him on that list, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, Magic, Bird. I mean, Doctor.
I was about to say your boy now. Come on now. I was waiting on your boy.
Now, Doctor was my man. I mean, now on a 101, I would do a doctor on you all day. I would stick my tongue out, fly, all that. I mean, and then had the big froze. You know, I was Dr. J. But
Light-skinned version.
Yeah, light-skinned doctor. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if I would have liked to seen Doctor and Jordan all around the same age. And they, you know, on the court.
You mentioned Magic Johnson, and Magic Johnson actually was just asked this question, like, hey, what do you think about Anthony Edwards? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
And Magic Johnson answered it like, well, I don't really pay attention to anyone that hasn't won a championship yet. I don't think he won in college. I don't think he won in high school. So Magic shut that down real quick. I love that response.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of disrespectful to the game. I thought it was a very immature Comet. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is super talented.
Yes, he is.
And is a huge talent going forward. But just how much the game has grown and how far, like, you got to pay dues to those dudes that did it before us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just where the transition or the translation between that era and his era, they don't really know, too much of Magic and Bird. Like,
Right.
I think, as players, like, you got to know the guys,
that came before.
Like Barkley said.
But I think his comment was more so geared towards, like, because obviously MJ is moving how guys move in this era today. So I think that's kind of like where he was going with it, as far as the movement and the explosiveness, the athleticism, and being able to contort your body, playing like, Jordan was in a different, in terms of playing like that, how guys play today.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of where Anthony Edwards, you're young, you don't really necessarily know how to, articulate that, or, maybe it was, he should have fully explained what he was trying to say. But if I don't know, I'm putting words in his mouth at this point, but I'm thinking that's what he was trying to go towards.
I was going to ask you, because I was thinking the same thing. He used the word skill, though.
Yeah.
But it brings up the question, like, do you think that there was a bigger gap with Jordan just on the athleticism side against his competition? Was that gap bigger than the skill side? Because I think he was more skilled.
I think he was
more athletic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But which
was,
one had the bigger gap?
I think he was a combo of both, obviously. But I think, because, I mean, you look at his work of art, right? Like, you look at his first year in the league, he was putting up crazy numbers as a rookie. Then he had a stretch where he was putting up 60s, 50s, like, and he was just running circles around people. He couldn't win early on because it was a team game, and back then it was just physical, and so he needed the pieces to start winning. But as far as him as the talent, like, he was running, he could do it whatever he want. People doubling me or not, people pushing me to the ground or not, like, I'm gonna do what I want because I'm more athletic, I'm more skilled, I can jump higher than you, I can sky over you. My hands are big.
I got
like
a fade away. That's
I got a fader. Like, if you want to come double me, I'ma just post up right here and just jump over top of you. So I don't know. I think it was a bit of both. Like, it was a bit of both. He was more talented from a skill set standpoint, and he was more athletic than everybody.
Yeah.
Like you say, he's
Got
young.
the paint.
He don't know. That's just like if we was to ask Jordan at his time, who was his favorite skill player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Growing up and all that type of stuff. So,
Well,
he had his opinion.
I have been hearing, like, like on the sports channels, a lot of people are starting to say he's another Jordan. So maybe that got in his head, and he want to spit out something like that, But I mean, he really got to do his homework.
Yeah.
I mean, but now don't get me wrong, Jordan. I mean, like, you really got to pack a lunch. For to really, jump on the court with him.
Right.
But in my eyes, I mean, like I say, Magic, Bird, and then Dr. J.
Dr. J. You got
And it's a
Isaiah.
few of them that I can't really think of right now. But but I think Jordan was a little bit like at the top of them, but he wasn't away from it, But Magic was bad too back in the day, with the no-look passes. I mean, nobody wasn't doing that.
Right.
Be that tall.
Until he came in the league. Yeah, coming down there, he looked that way and the ball going this way.
Right. Right.
And then, and then Magic made it look like he was out there having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he grinning and laughing, the whole time. So Magic really brought a lot of people in. And then, Bird and him really saved the doggone NBA, because them two was always going at it.
Yeah.
Just to follow up on the athleticism side, because you just talked about how you played football, but how were you, like, as an athlete? Like, were you a freak athlete too? Like, could you dunk and do all that kind of stuff? You said you were Dr. J. Like, what kind of athlete were you?
Answer for
Like,
you.
what?
Yeah, you could do that.
Hell no, I couldn't do none of that.
I think. Then where did he get it from? Where did Paul get his athleticism from? If it wasn't from you.
Well, I seriously, I mean, I think because I wanted to be an athlete so much to where it just, I think some powers just went off into him. Something. I mean, because even my friends to the day right now,
Like,
you know, time they see me, they're like, man, you ain't nothing like your son. You know, I could barely even dribble the ball. You know, I mean, back then, you know, I was starting to grow, so I think my height, and they were like, you know, you ought to be a basketball player. But I mean, when I was coming up, that's all we had was, you know, go play outside, basketball, football.
But all them uncles and your brothers, nobody knew how to play ball?
We all played ball. We
How
played
many
street
uncles
ball.
in it?
Well, my brothers, you talking
Yeah,
about?
your brother.
It's 4 of us.
And none of y'all could play ball.
Yeah, I mean, my younger brother played basketball, and then my younger brother, Derek, he played football. But yeah, I mean, we played sports, but we wasn't
Good enough to
Yeah,
teach.
we wasn't good enough to take it to that next level.
It's crazy how it worked. Did you
So-
always hear, like, again, I always mention them, but like Drew's parents were athletes. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it makes sense why
Mhm.
Drew and their whole family are good
Just
athletes.
with dog, I get it.
But then you get sometimes where it's like, nope,
Yeah.
like I wasn't doing any of that, and
Yeah.
he's a professional athlete.
I mean, I was on the court every day. I mean, I was on the
Motherfucker, shit.
playground, but
Still tripping off
I
that.
just wasn't talented enough. You know?
Gotcha.
I just wasn't talented enough.
Yeah.
So when Pete gets to high school, it's his senior season, and he starts to get noticed by colleges. What was that process like for you as a dad, kind of sitting down with P, and I'd like to think you were helping him kind of sort through the different schools and ultimately chose one, but what was that like helping him
I
out
could have hit him.
with the colleges?
Well, that was another story there too. You know, I wanted once
No,
what Paul
wrong
wanted,
person, bro.
You know, so I'm backing him up 100%.
It's the wrong person. Why wouldn't you pass it to
When
the corner?
colleges were starting to look at it, so we had a few that we went
Fuck.
to, and I'm thinking, okay, this is it. This is school he's gonna go to, and we get home next day or two. No, he ain't going there. Now, you know, we didn't went to like two or three, you know, schools now. And they are calling me left and right. I mean, they blowing my phone up. You know, what your son gonna do? What you gonna do? I said, look, I don't know yet. We still. Well, he said he was gonna come. I said, well, yeah, but what I'm supposed to do? And I'm telling them on the phone, like, you know, and they pressuring me. I'm like, listen, what I'm supposed to do? You know, and it's, well, he said, I said, I know what he said. I said, but
Oh, my
if he
fault.
want to come there, he gonna come there.
My fault. That's my fault. That's on me.
So I
That's on me. I
go
ain't gonna lie.
outside and I talk to him. He look at me like, I don't know yet, Dad. Okay. So, but when he went to Fresno, I mean, when Fresno came in the picture, I'm walking through Fresno like, nah, I don't think he's gonna come here. And that's the school he wanted to go to. So we wind up, you know, sticking with Fresno. But I was kind of used to it because of his sister. When she was going through it, so we was, you know, was going through it with her.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't serious like they were coming after him.
Mhm.
I mean, every school was coming after Paul. And then he wanted to stay kind of close to home, you know, Pepperdine. We was thinking he's going to go there. You know, his older sister, she went there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, okay, you know, he's going to go here. And then Pepperdine coach, and I think the Pepperdine coach wound up leaving.
Uh-huh.
And then he had a change of mind. So that was off the list there. So I was like, you know, I just threw my hands up. I was like, hey, you know, whatever you do, I'm cool with it. I said, but don't make any more promises to nobody, you know what I'm saying, until you sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how, because I remember, because most of my big schools was East Coast,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Georgetown. I
Yeah,
think it was.
Georgetown, I think.
Pitt.
I'm drawing blanks. No, I think, but there. But they were all East Coast. There were some big schools on the list, but they were all East Coast. And for me, I was like, man, ain't no way. I like outside of us driving to Texas, like you know, we ain't really been outside of California, so it just
and I
didn't.
never flew before either, so I was like,
yeah, so it just didn't seem like it was the spot to go. But yeah, so Pepperdine, Teosha obviously went there, and I pretty much grew up on that campus. So that particular night, they did the Midnight Madness, or you know, when they start the season off, and I'm there and I'm big eyes, like like, loving this. I think I might be the first person that like reached out to the coach, like, hey, I would love to come here, and then them offer me a scholarship the next day. Like that's how it played out.
Coach Westfall. Wasn't his name Westfall?
It was
He played in the league.
It was Vance Wahlberg. Westfall,
Coach, what are you looking for?
Yeah. But the coach there was Vance Wahlberg at the time, and I'm watching them. You know, the crowd is going crazy. I'm watching my sister out there. You know, because the girls and the boys both did, I think, something, and I was like, man, I see myself playing here. And then I go up to the coach, and I would love to play on the team. Like I would love to be here. Sure enough, they offered me a scholarship, and then I signed my letter of intent. And he leaves, like just out of the blue.
Yeah.
We didn't get no call, no, you know, hey, at least do me that.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm leaving. But funny enough, he's the coach now for Fresno State.
Get out of here.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Wow.
He's the head coach for Fresno State now.
Wow.
He just signed him this summer.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
yeah, it's crazy
That's
how
hilarious.
that happens.
I did not know that at all. Wow.
Yeah.
Was there a school that you wanted him to go? Like, if it was up to you in the back of your mind, I know you're backing him 100%, but was there a school that you were like, I want him to go there?
I mean, really, I was just, following him. I didn't really have a certain school. I was just glad that he was getting a scholarship, So I was like, and then all the other stuff that came with it, I'm like, wow. But I was just happy, for all of my kids.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
play
I didn't mean
sports and all
excuse
that.
you.
I was, you getting a scholarship. Oh wow, But him, I just left it up to Paul. As far as on where he wanted to go. But yeah.
Well, Pops, we know a lot of parents, for sure, always want their kids to go to school for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? To get their degrees and all this type of stuff. And I just want to know you because I'm a little nosy. I want to know what the conversation was like because PG.
Like, why does he keep doing that move, man?
So I want to know what was that conversation when he decided to say, "Yo, Pops, I'm done with school. I'm ready to go to the league."
Well, yeah, we did have that conversation too.
They forced me out.
Yeah.
Please tell us this story. Pops like, just get to that bag. Get your bag. I need some more Chucks.
Well, it was like
some Stacy's. I need some more Stacy's.
It was like this. I was one of the guys that was helping Paul, Cedric, and he was working Paul out and stuff like that. But he would come in. He had no ties to Fresno or anything, but he would come down and he'd seen something in Paul. He'd come out and work him out. And so he kept telling me, Paul's gonna be a lottery pick. And at the time, I wasn't a lottery pick. What you talking about? And he's talking about basketball. He's gonna be a lottery pick. I go, huh? And he go, but he needs to leave school this year. And I go, what you mean? He said, Mr. George, he needs to quit school. And so I thought about it for about a day.
A day?
And,
a day?
Yeah, I thought about it for about a day. And then me and him had a talk. Me and Paul had a talk. And I said, well, because the following year they was going to have a lockout. And so they were feeding me like, this is his year. He need to come out now. So I'm like, okay. And they coming at me. Right. Paul gonna be a lottery pick. This is his year. And so I'm like, okay. So they were coming at me so much, I would say, okay, if you don't get picked, and what about his school situation? Well, if he enter, he's gonna lose it. And I go, well, if he don't get picked, then he's just gonna lose all that.
Right.
And I made them say, well, if he loses it, you're going to pay for him to go back to school. And they were pretty much telling me, yeah, okay, all right. I said, okay now, all right. I said, you don't want to play with me. So I got it off in his head. Okay, he's been working out, getting ready for the draft and everything. So I look up, and I'm trying to find him, and I can't find him. So I go on the school, and he's working out at the gym, and he's working like he's finna come back next season. And the coach Cleveland was there, and Coach
Bro, the Nuggets are good.
Coach Cleve, I had been told Coach, like the coach, Paul, this is Paul last season. Right. He's like, yeah, okay, but he was kind of shining me up. So I go to the school, and I see Paul working out. I looks at him, and when Paul looked at me, looked like he seen a ghost. And I'm like, so he get through talking to whoever he's talking to, and he comes over to me. I said, what are you doing? Oh, Dad, I think I'm going to stay another season. I said, no. I said, this is the first time I'm telling you to quit school. You were quitting school, and I go, where your coach at? And then the coach started walking over there. I said, Paul ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. And the coach, he was like, oh, all right. He said, well, let's go out to dinner and we'll talk about it. There ain't nothing to talk about. But we'll go to dinner. He took us out to dinner. We sit there the whole time. I'm looking at him doing like this. No. I had already got it in my head that Paul was going into the NBA.
Yeah, the NBA.
Yeah. And so and I kept saying, this is what you've been dreaming of. This is what you've been telling you when you was like this. So I want to go into the NBA. Here it is.
What?
I mean, everybody telling me that they're gonna hold the door open for you. Let's close the college door. Mm-hmm. And so he was kind of like 50-50, because I think he didn't really know what to expect. But I mean, once he was on board with it, he was on then. Right. He was on.
Yeah, no, that's all true stories.
Yeah,
all true stories. Because that was all true stories, because we had that conversation. For me, it was, you watch the tournament, and we had a pretty talented team, but we didn't figure out how to get to that point yet. And so for me, it was like, I had 2 good seasons there. Third year, I'm gonna really be the man, and really,
that's what the coach was pumping in it.
Yeah,
Right.
But it was like, now I want to make that tournament run, like really showcase how good I am here at Fresno. So that was the only thing that was just the deciding factor of going to the league or going back to school. It was just that opportunity to play in the tournament. And we had that conversation. He was like, you're not coming back. They saying you a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Come on.
Your daddy was like, I would have. If you would have told him, he would have whooped your ass. Okay? No, we finna do this now.
Yeah,
no.
I stopped. I would work out on campus, but I wasn't going to school. I was telling my coaches, hey, I'm just here to work out. Don't worry about me going to classes. I'll finish the little courses. And just, because the school, I think at that point, if you don't finish, the school loses, or the I think you gotta finish the academics. I think the credits, or the school will get penalized with scholarships and stuff like that. So I finished out my courses and stuff, doing that online, sending my paperwork in to my teachers.
What am I doing?
But yeah, once we made that, I left school, went to LA as the season was still going, or the school year was still going, and finished in LA. And I was training.
Yeah.
Locked in.
That was it.
That was it. That was it.
Man, it does feel like a long time.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah. 2009, really 10.
Yeah. So I told this story of draft night. Now we're moving along to from working out, preparing for the draft, to now being drafted. We're in New York. This your first time flying.
What the fuck was that?
The new 2024 GMC Sierra HD. Get 5.9% APR for 84 months on Sierra Heavy Duty Denali models. That's almost $7,000 in average finance savings.
To New York, and then the night that we go out after being drafted. Talk to us a little bit from your perspective on how that night went. That 48 hours from you getting the call, we're going to be in the green room in New York, to us going out that night, then to us flying to Indiana that morning. What was that as from a father perspective?
It was like a dream, really. I was like, huh? This is really happening, with the New York. First of all, when he called and said, Dad, get ready. We going to New York. And I go, huh? I go, can I wait here? So, no, you got to come with us.
I think the first,
because I never flew.
The first question you asked was, how long is that drive?
Oh, yeah, something like that, yeah. Because
how long is that drive? You must think about that flight, like no.
Yeah, because I normally drive everywhere. Right. So I get past that, right? So I'm up. So we actually getting on the plane was that was another chapter there. So we driving up to the airport, and it seemed like I'm looking at every mile, every minute. And we get up there, and gets in there, and this one guy, he's just looking at me, and he's looking at me like he can see something. And and just so happened I sit by him, and he go, everything all right? And I go, huh? He goes, everything all right? I go, no. I go, man, this is my first time flying. He go, oh, you be all right. You're all right. I go, for real? He go, yeah, you be all right. Then he gets up, and I never see the guy again. He gets up and leaves. And so I'm sitting there, and then somebody else comes, and they sits down. And every little bump or whatever went on, I was like, oh, man, I couldn't wait to land. When we landed, and so
I get the best sleep ever on planes, bro.
I'm like, okay, we land, so we here. But first time being off in New York, I mean, it was then the fans, it was just so many fans. I've never been around that kind of stuff. There was so many fans. Mm-hmm. Then I see Marcus Cousins. I'm like, okay, that's Marcus Cousins. And I see him with like 2 or 3 cops following him. And I go, what did he do? And they said, no, those cops are following him to make sure he don't mess with nobody don't mess with him. Right. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, man. But draft night, it was nervous. We sitting there. We didn't know where he was gonna go, but we know he was gonna be somewhere around in the lottery. So for Indiana, when he got drafted there, I'm like, first thing I thought about was Miller, Reggie. I'm like, wow, okay, Reggie came from there, he had kind of same game, shooting a little bit.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So we gets there, and I didn't know we had to leave the next day. I'm like, wait a minute, I just got in from flying from there. They said, no, you got to leave first thing in the morning. Huh? So we flies from New York to Indiana, and we get there, and they got a big old welcome sign up there, welcome Paul George, as you drive down into the tunnel. And soon we get there, they put Paul straight to work. He's got the press and all that. I'm just sitting back, and I'm like, wow, my son, he's a grown man now. He didn't grew up. This is his life. So it was a proud moment that that you just really can't explain it. You just accept it, But yeah, every time I sit back and think about that, it just gets you, like, wow. So and then from now on, every year, like I watches the draft, and it just takes me back. Mm-hmm. So I know what the other parents are going through, so I like, wow. But it was, I can't take away nothing from it, It was all worth it.
Yeah. What advice would you give for new fathers being NBA dads? You talked about watching the draft and watching, reliving that moment for you, but then now, you know, being an NBA dad, what advice you have for like new NBA dads coming into, you know, watching their son live their dream?
Wow, that's a good one. Because I kind of just let him go. You know, he always carried himself like a man. I mean, so
Nickname.
Yeah, nickname man.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
people don't know that. My true nickname, I know people PG-13, PG-8. You know, my true nickname is Man.
Man.
See?
Yeah.
I know all
and
that.
then he was playing with his teammate, Terrence Man. And we wound up telling Terrence's mom, you know, that's you guys' last name, but
No, I
that's
stopped
Paul's
him.
nickname.
My fault.
She
Oh, he
goes,
missed
really?
it.
I said, yeah. So, I don't know. I got to think that we got to come back on that one.
People don't know my nickname. My actual nickname is Man. Everybody, cousins, aunt, uncles, family, friends, they don't call me Paul. I might get Lil Paul here and there, but everybody call me Man. I know the backstory, but can you tell the audience, tell everybody here, what was the meaning, or how did Man come about?
Well, when Paul was little, I mean, we had other friends too, and then they had kids and they sons, you know, they had sons and stuff. And but Paul was just so much bigger, and so to where I was calling him a man. You know, he was a man over them. And then his mom, you know, oh, that's my little man, you know, and then that name just stuck.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, you know, like I said, you know, he was just all of my friends' sons. Paul was like a giant, you know, and so I would call him a man, and they kids wasn't a man. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I took it, and I just, you know, and then the name just stuck on him, man.
And it's really, the family is the only people I ever hear call you man.
Sometimes I forget when we're around his friends. I'll be like, oh, Paul.
Yeah.
But really, man.
Yeah, all my family members. I'm Man to the rest of the world. That's my family. Man.
And then I had a cousin. His name was Man, one of my first cousins. And so Paul is like the second man in the family now. Yeah. But we had another cousin named was Man.
You ain't got no tattoo of that one, huh?
Uh-huh.
No. You gotta get that one, people, for all the other ones you done got. You should have had the Man one.
I mean, I ain't got no nicknames on me, so
yeah, you gotta get that. The family
one. That was the Connect. Stay close to the action with AT&T. At home or on the go, AT&T keeps you connected to the game you love. We'll be right back after this break.
We want to take a brief break from the episode.
Well, guess what? I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
A win to receive the $50.
1, 2, 3.
Then by downloading the app today. So Pops P ends up going to Indiana. I'm sure you're proud.
That was an okay snipe right there.
He always tells the story about when he told his teammates in Indiana that he would be an all-star. And they all just laughed at him. And so I want to know from your perspective, when you first learned that P was going to be an all-star for the first time in 2013, what was that like, and what were you doing when you found that news out?
I don't remember what I was doing, but of course I was excited, you know. I mean, I think that's very special when you make it as an all-star. You know, you playing the game that you love, and then you're all-star of it too. I just think that's over the top, you know. But yeah, I mean, we were all very, very, very proud for him, getting named, as a all-star.
And you mentioned earlier, like when you got to New York, you weren't used to seeing fans, and it seems like every year to this day that Paul's been in the NBA, he's kind of continued to have an upward, trajectory of fans. He's had a shoe. He's been in Nike commercials. And for you as a dad, I know you're proud, but what was it like like watching that from afar. Like you go to a basketball game and you look around and the fans are, your last name is on the back of their jerseys. Just kind of walk us through, did it take some time for you to get accustomed to that? And to this day, when you see those jerseys, does it still kind of like, man, that's crazy that, you know, look at all these people wearing my son's jersey.
Well, you said it like it is crazy. But I see it, I'm just tickled. I mean, like, I love it. When I look up and I see them wearing his jersey, his number, yelling out his name. Like a lot of times when we were at the game and the fans, they got kind of smart on us. So they know after the game, Paul's going to come over and, you know, hug us, give his mom, a kiss, a hug. So, you know, the fans started gathering up right before the game was over with. So they all be right there. They be, Paul, Paul, Paul. And for him just, you know, because we hear everything. And we be like, you know, shoving each other, you know, me and my wife, like, you know, she like, yeah, you know, like, you hear that? I go, yeah. You know. But we're just tickled from it. I mean, you know, just to hear like the fans holler for him, you know, just, I mean, we've seen some fans crying sometime, you know, Paul, I love you. And they just, and then you look up, tears coming down. And, but, I mean, we love it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because one of my favorite things to like, I think it's a superpower because, you know, growing up and when he first got in the league and even for like his friends, it was different too. And I'll never forget like a couple times after the game, Paul would come out and say hello. We'd all be waiting there like when we used to do that. And he'd be like having a conversation with me. And it was hard for me to talk with him because I'm just hearing Paul, Paul, Paul. And somehow he's able to like block it out. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I can't have a conversation with you because I'm so distracted by all of these fans. I always tell people that story about like, I don't know how they do it.
I don't know either, but just what you said, yeah, we experienced that too. It's like, you know, they Paul, 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 and then you be trying to talk to him. You're like, wait a minute, you got about.
Now we're here again with UPS, running it back.
Running it back.
Delivery for you. Oh, hey, thank you. Okay, let's see what's in this box. 3 unstoppable Texas small businesses pitch their story in a single box.
Okay, looking sharp, sir.
Did they?
20, you know, kids back there yelling your name, you know, probably more than that, but they're yelling your name, Paul, 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 you know. And it's like, and then he's talking to you, and it's like, huh? Like, what did you just say? You know, because I'm hearing all these fans back here. You know. Speaking of fans, we were out on the boat like the other day, me and Paul and his mom and his son, and kids was in the water swimming, and we passing by them, and so we could have been like maybe about 15 yards like away from them. Okay. But they noticed Paul, and one of the kids like, "Is that Paul George?" And so we, you know, I'm still going, and then the other one tell the other one, "Hey, that's Paul George." Then they start yelling, "Paul George!" So Paul looks up and does like this. Get out of here! That's Paul freaking George. We love you. We love you. I mean, we're like about a good, maybe about 200 yards past them now, and you can still hear them. I don't believe Paul George was on the lake. You know what I mean? And me and the mom, we just, you know, tickled from it. You're like, wow. And then we looked at him. Well, you can't go nowhere. You know? So
I'm in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny because the kid he was swimming away from his friends initially. He sees us. He turns around in the water to swim back to his friends. Like, yo, that's Paul George. And it wasn't like they were close. Like he turned around and like
it could have been
moving to get back to his friends.
Probably maybe about 10 kids out there, like in the water. Yeah. And they were just so excited. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. But it was this other time, me and Paul was doing some
Bro, are you
shopping
fucking
for, like,
serious?
school shopping. And we go downtown, and so I'm letting him get whatever you want to get. He's getting a few things, and so we on our way out, and we passed by this. We walking down the street. I think it was Los Angeles Street or something like that. So we walking. It was between Los Angeles and I think 7th Street. And there's this guy standing up there. He had on a suit, looked like he was from Africa, you know. So he's standing outside like his store, and as we walking, finna walk past him, he steps up to us, and he goes, excuse me, and he go, and he asked Paul, he said, excuse me, he said, like, you a basketball player? And so Paul could have been probably about maybe 14, he was still in high school, and so Paul looks at me, and I'm like, you know, answer the guy.
Rock the baby.
And Paul said, yeah, you know, I play ball. And then the guy reaches in his jacket, and he pulls out like a little card, and he said, if you don't mind, can you sign this for me? And so Paul looks at me, go ahead, you know, what is he gonna hurt anything? So I think that was your first.
That was my first autograph. Yeah.
And then the guy took it and put it back in his pocket, and he said, you're gonna be a star. And we both walked away, looked at each other like, huh. And to this day, right now, I still think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if he's seen the future or what, but he straight stopped us. And after Paul signed his card, he said, "You're gonna be a superstar." Look at me.
Yeah.
Hey, your parents know about you buying holy water?
Nah, they don't. They don't.
Uh-oh.
I don't think moms or pops know that story of me ordering holy water.
Holy water?
Who did we tell that story with?
DeMarcus.
Yeah, cause you know the infomercials that come on, you know, on TV, and so one night I'm watching the infomercial, right? And this particular infomercial was, you know, people having the Holy Ghost based off of, you know, this holy water that you can order. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, all right, well, it's worth a try. So I call in. I'm like, you know, they talking to me. And I think it was all free. I think they mailed me something. I had to fill out information.
It's free.
I had to fill out some information. I mailed it back to them. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, they sent me this like little, like holy water
sample
or something like that. And so I remember I prayed. I sprinkled the holy water on me, and I was like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
But my prayer behind it was like, you know, I was like, man, I just want to be an NBA player. Like, I want to be the best basketball player I can be. I want to make it to the NBA. And
was this before you came into the NBA?
Yeah, this before I came in. So I was probably like 15, 16 years old.
At home,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Mom don't know this. This is funny backstory right here.
Okay.
Holy water.
And
it worked.
It helped, safe to say, it worked. It definitely worked. But
yeah.
I was like, you know, because I seen it a couple times.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, you know what, this time I'm gonna give it a call. And sure enough,
wow,
it did work. So yeah, shout out to
the holy water.
Shout out to the holy water.
Dude, I need some holy water.
Well, Pops, I hate to take you back down this memory lane because I hate even talking about it sometimes. But one of the toughest moments of your son's career was, of course, when he got injured for Team USA, when he injured his leg. And I know as a parent, of course, you was at the game, so it had to be beyond devastating.
Yeah.
But I want to know, when you ran down there on the court and you connected with the injury and seen everything, what was the first thing you said to Pete?
Yeah, that was a tough one there. Well, when I got down there, I can see that, you know, I could see the whole injury because they hadn't covered it up yet.
Right.
And then someone came up and put like a towel over his leg. But when I got down there to him, you know, he grabbed me
At Jimmy John's, just
At Jimmy John's, I
$10
don't give a
get
fuck
you a
what
full
happens.
8 inches
You
of
can just shut the
original
fuck up
sandwich,
and suck
Jimmy
everything.
chips, drink, and a dessert. It's
And he ain't never squeezed my hand like that ever. And I'm looking at him like, hey, if you want to let out a tear or something, it's okay. Go on and do it. But he was just like, yeah.
I got 0 fouls. I'm gonna go ahead and get him in here.
I need something. I'm in pain. I said, yeah, I know, son. Rip and get, something going. But it looked like it took maybe about 30 minutes before they got him up off the floor. And then we were scrambling around to see what hospital to bring him to. We were almost at one hospital, and they were like, no. And they turn around, and we following him. And so they go across the other town of Vegas. So we gets in there, and of course they give him something for pain now. And they getting ready for bring him into surgery. And so he was kind of slowly, like the medicine was starting to work in. And his agent, Aaron, for some reason he got Mr. Bryant on the phone, Kobe. And so he gives the phone to Paul. And so him and Paul is talking on the phone, and then when he gets done, he said, guess who I was talking to? I'm like, ooh. He's laying there, he's smiling down. And he said, I just got you talking to Kobe Bryant. Really? Like, okay. And then after that, they wheeled him in. But you had every NBA player that was in the hospital. They were all there. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were all in the hallway. Everybody was there. So when it comes to NBA love, I do see it. When one of their ones is down, they all stick. Afterwards, everything, the surgery, and I think he was in there about a couple of days before they let you come home. We gets home, and I never forget this. We gets home, and it helps him in the room, and he had a lot of stairs at his house. And he gets up there, and he gets in his room, and I sets him down in there. He gets situated in there, and then he calls me later on and said, Dad, I comes in there. He said, can you help me downstairs? I go, well, what do you want? I go get it. He said, no, I want you to help me downstairs. Well, he had his own little private basketball court. And he just getting home from surgery. Got crutches and all that. And so I helps him downstairs. We gets down there on the, like on the gym, and he go, well, I want to shoot the ball. You just give it to me. And I go, huh? And I'm over here trying not to tear up because I'm like, come on, you shouldn't be thinking about basketball right now. Let's try and get this working. And I sit there. We were out there about a good hour maybe. You shoot the ball, sitting down. I would give it back to him. He's like, okay, let me go back upstairs and put him back in his room. But that was a tough one because I didn't know.
Shooting basketball is therapeutic.
What the outcome was going to be.
Just going out there, just shooting.
But yeah, that was a nightmare. That was a definite nightmare. I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
Well, P, I got to ask you. I don't care. What did Kobe Bryant say to you on that phone call?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He was just like, obviously he was just showing his support. He was like, if you need anything from me, I'm here. I'm in this with you. But he was just like, it was like the rehab is going to be tough, right? The work is going to be hard. And he was like, nobody wants to rehab because this was the first time I've ever been injured. Broke anything. I fucked my ankle up in college, but it didn't require surgery. It just was time off. So this was like the first injury I ever had that required surgery. And he was just like, the work gonna be tedious. It's gonna
what
be
am I
tiresome.
doing? I just let him go right past me. I was looking for Jared Vanderbilt so I can help.
Is to attack rehab the same way you attack working out on the court. He was like, you find fun in working out on the basketball court. You got to find that same fun for the rehab. No other way you're going to get through it. is just attack rehab like you attack the basketball court. And that took me a long ways because instantly I knew everything he said leading up to it, right? How hard it is, the tedious work it takes, doing the same shit day after day. Like, that gets exhausting, you know what I mean? And so if he didn't tell me that and warn me ahead of time, then my mind kind of would have been all over the place of, like, not all the way there, trying to do this, not giving it 100%. But he kind of warned me on that. And so the second end of that, of attacking it like basketball, I was like, all right, he said it was going to be tedious, but now I got to just give it everything I got every time I work out. And so that was kind of the breakthrough, you know what I mean? That was the breakthrough, but, you know, I was surreal about the call, like, and I'm still drugged up.
Who was the first
Yeah, I'm still drugged up.
Aaron.
Aaron.
I'm still like drugged up too. So like, I was probably like, yo, Cole, what's up, man?
Okay,
you trying to hoop? You trying to 1-on-1? Laying in the bed. But yeah, about the support of just league guys, man. It was so many people reaching out through phone. I know there was people there at the hospital. Floyd came every day.
He came there. I mean, he said, forget the hospital food.
Yeah.
And he brung.
Shout out Floyd.
I mean, literally, he brung all soul food in Vegas.
Floyd was at the hospital every day.
The floor smelling like you was at Mama's kitchen.
Floyd was at the hospital every day.
Floyd pulled up at least. I was at the hospital maybe 6-7 days.
Yeah, maybe
Floyd
a week.
Probably came 3 or 4 days out of that. Like, P, I'm gonna come. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna come check on you. Next day come, he was there.
Yeah,
a fresh plate.
Yeah,
soul food, man. So big shout out to Floyd, man. Floyd was.
Y'all see a fight this weekend?
I watched highlights. I watched highlights of it.
He fought Gotti again. He fired the
I
ref.
thought he was still retired.
Yeah.
So these are all unofficial now. He'll do exhibition fights.
So
you can tell Pops was out the loop and everything.
He's smart, man. He's smart.
He's a smart guy.
But
he's
he
smart.
fired the referee. He disagreed with one of the calls.
It was a bad call, though.
As a ref and brought in
another ref.
That's how you do it.
It was a bad call.
Oh my God, Nikola Jokovic is the best player in the fucking world.
It wasn't a back of the head shot.
I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear a damn thing.
It's a clean hook. Boy, like, man, get out. Get out of here.
Shout out to the champ.
Wow.
The champ.
That's crazy.
Pops, you mentioned, though, that you were unsure of what was next after seeing the injury and seeing where P's been able to take his basketball career since that injury. Did you learn anything new about your son during that time?
Yeah.
The 2024 Kia Sorento. It's the perfect blend of style, comfort, and adventure-ready capability. You'll enjoy advanced technology features to help keep you comfortable. Plus, you'll love its available turbocharged performance. Conquer it all in your new Sorento. Click now to grab a fantastic offer and make one yours today.
Did you learn anything new about your son during that time?
Yeah, he don't take no for like an answer. He don't let nothing get in his way. That I did learn from him. I mean, I sit back and I'm like, wow, he is not giving up. Because me, I was ready to. I would have been still crying. You know, from that injury, I would have been. But hey, they be like, what is wrong? That happened 15 years ago. Why are you still crying?
Eyes would have been closed for a week.
Still hurt. You know what I mean? But no, I think it made him more stronger. He had a good reason for the throw, like the towel in. He could have stopped, but he didn't. He didn't. When that happened, I was like, oh. Man, he might have to look into doing something else. You know.
I think when, like, initially, you know, before we got the news, and just how God works with me, you know, obviously my mom was praying up for me, And to hear the best news that we could get, that it was a clean break, no ligaments, no no vein, no ligaments, no cartilage was torn, like it was just straight bone. I think that was the best outcome that we could have had on that situation. And so, the doctor was like, bone is bone. It's going to heal back together. You're going to be back fine. So I think that gave me room to bring positive
back into
it, right? Because I was negative to like, man, like I'm done. Like, I done built up so much steam, and then now it's just gone.
Yeah.
And so them saying it was a clean break and the bone will heal, that was room for me to be like, all right, like let's go get it. Now I'm ready for the next steps of recovering. But the doubt was there initially. The doubt was there for sure initially of who I was going to be. And it was still there. I knew I would be back because it was just bone on bone. So I knew I would be back playing. But at that point, at what level, am I still going to be at the level that I was when I left? Or am I just going to be, a shell of it and have to alter my game tremendously? Am I going to be able to play defense like I used to, or blow by people, or, jump like I used to? All of it took a little hit. Obviously, I know the athlete I was and where I was at coming back. I wasn't the athlete coming back. But from the naked eye, like outside looking in, I'm close to where, I was at before the injury. But no, it was definitely some hard times I'm not sure of I'll ever play this game at the same level that I used to.
But just piggyback on what he was saying, with the doctors, they kind of helped too. They kind of helped us
see the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And so they started telling us, because it was like a good break, that his leg would be better, and so that kind of, like he said, that did give up like a lot of hope. Well, maybe I can get back out there. Maybe I can, maybe not lose like a big step, but his first game back, that was the game when his first game when he came back and played. I mean, just the fans alone. I mean, everybody was on their feet. Right. They was happy to see him back. So yeah, that was I mean, that I never forget. I mean, to me it was like him winning something. I mean, when he walked back out there, when the coach put him out and he didn't play much. He just went out and played a little bit. And I'm saying to myself, maybe Paul gonna be back. He
played good in that game too. It was against Miami.
Yeah,
I'll never forget.
Yeah, which is fitting.
Yeah.
Miami was the team that gave us the most trouble, and that was the game back. And I think I debuted a new number, 13 at that point.
Yeah,
I think I scored 13 that night. And so it was a lot that I remember from that moment. Fans was going crazy. It was a surreal.
Yes. Yep.
Surreal moment.
Pops, we seen you at the Philly. I'm gonna call it the Philly pitch meeting. Call it the Philly pitch meeting. And everyone showed up, including one of your favorites in the world. I'm gonna say this now because you told us basically today, Dr. J, your favorite player. Dr. J showed up to the pitch meeting, and I just want to know, what was your first reaction when you see Dr. J try to get your son? And then I got to know, did you wear your Stacy Adams?
I did have on some Stacy's. But it was funny because when I seen Doctor, I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, I thought you could be taller. I think I was taller than him. And I'm saying, dang, why I can't jump like you? You know what I'm saying? But of course it was like me meeting Superman or somebody. I mean, he was back in the day, Dr. J was the man. I mean, I don't care how you look at it. You talk about basketball, he was the man. When you out there, and then back then everybody had froze. So you step on the court, everybody was Dr. J, Dr. J, Dr. J. Mm-hmm. So when I seen him in person, I was like, man, you just don't know, you was my man, you know what I'm saying? And for him to come and reach out to my son, and then he started talking about before he got his championship, he was missing piece, and when they got it, and that's when they won.
Yeah, what was it? Moses,
yeah. And so he stated to Paul, he said, "Hey, this is our missing piece right here." And so I was like, "Wow!" I said, "That's coming from Dr. J," But I can't wait to when the season get going, and I know I rub a little bit more elbows with him. Yeah, get to sit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I get it.
And first thing I had asked him, about the sandwiches out there. And he was like,
Philly,
for the Philly. He said, he said, well, I can take you to some, but but we did try like a few of them out there. I don't know where they went and got them sandwiches from. Maybe Walmart or something. It didn't have no Philly love. But I can't wait to really, dig into a good down-to-earth Philly cheese sandwich out there.
How did you feel, Pop, when PG left LA and said, I'm going to Philly?
Wow. It was hurting. I mean, it was like, I feel like they stabbed us in the back, because I thought Paul did a whole lot for the team. As far as in the fan base, the fans was there. He was there. I think he gave them 110%.
Let's check in with David Aldridge reporting from the sideline for our player of the game. David, take it away.
It wasn't a whole lot.
Thanks, Kevin. Nicola, coach has talked about the growth of your leadership. What's gotten you to be more vocal?
I just want to help my teammates.
But I didn't want him just to take anything.
I just want to make them better.
So his whole thing, he does stand.
Well, it sounds like they're listening, man. I appreciate it. So back to you, Kevin.
That was a bunch of bull that they came at him with, and I wasn't going to sugarcoat it either. I'm behind you 100%. You got to leave, we're going to leave. Yep. And of course, it kind of put us in a little bump and grind, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
A little bump and
grind.
It's all good.
You love being at home, but then sometimes home could, kind of slow you down.
That's what I was going to ask you, with him being here all his life and all that, and he's home now, like, it wasn't one of them moments, look, just take what they're giving, boy.
No, it was like,
give what you deserve a little bit. Oh,
no, it was more get what you deserve.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, he put in work for it, and I felt that he should have got paid for it.
You're right. He did a lot. I'd say even more, 120%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so that, like we didn't stutter about it. We didn't, but let me think about it. Like what? They come at you like this?
Right.
Oh no, you got to go.
You got to go.
I was looking at, okay, well, we're going to go next door then. But they already spent too much money. You know what I'm saying? You know what? We're going to still come down in the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be wearing a different color. You know what I'm saying?
Pete, before I ask this, have we ever shared the Father's Day story on this podcast?
No,
because we gotta share the Father's Day that all of us were a part of, and I'll start it, and then I'm going to let you finish it. So Pete gives me a ring and goes, hey, tomorrow's Father's Day, and I want to take, all the dads fishing. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. And I think it was a Sunday. And my dad loves to fish. I'm like, dude, I don't think my dad can make it.
Thank God.
He's preaching. So he's like, bro, just still come. So there was probably 12 of us plus the fathers.
Yeah.
And we go down to Marina Del Rey early morning, and we're going to start fishing. I'll just finish the story. And so we're ocean fishing, and most of us, I think, are accustomed to lake fishing. So we're all excited, early morning, all the dads. It's
Here
like,
we
what a
go.
better way to